Good morning. Thanks for allowing me to be a part of your devotions. The Word of God comes to us today from Deuteronomy chapter 13, verses 12 to 18. And it says, "If you hear it said about one of the towns the Lord your God is giving you to live in, that troublemakers have arisen among you, and have led the people of their own town astray, let us go and worship other gods you have not known. Then you must inquire, probe, and investigate it thoroughly. And if it is true, and it has been proved that this detestable thing has been done among you, you must certainly put to the sword all who live in that town. You must destroy it completely, both its people and its livestock. You are to gather all the plunder of the town into the middle of the public square and completely burn the town and all its plunder as a whole burnt offering to the Lord your God. That town is to remain a ruin forever, never to be rebuilt, and none of the condemned things are to be found in your hands. Then the Lord will turn from his fierce anger, will show you mercy, and will have compassion on you. He will increase your numbers as he promised on oath to your ancestors, because you obey the Lord your God by keeping all his commands that I am giving you today and doing what is right in his eyes." And this passage gives us an insight as to how seriously God takes idols and idol worship, right? And it's something that is important for us to really think about because um, when we talk, right, we talk casually about the idols of our hearts, as if it's common, as if it's acceptable, as if it's something that um, is to be taken for granted simply because we are human. Um, but if we read carefully what this passage is saying, right, God doesn't give allowance for any form of idol worship, right? And what I mean by idol worship is anything that we place before God, right? We're not talking about bowing to a statue or to a foreign god of any pagan religion, but we're talking about um, the God of money, right? By allowing money to be more important than God, um, or even the God of family, right? Allowing our family to be more important than God. And that's something that we touched upon yesterday. Um, it gives us this warning. And I believe that it's because God knows the tendency in our hearts to stray away from him. Right? He knows that we each have that tendency to chase after foreign gods because we um, maybe because we don't know what comes next, or because we feel as though the future is uncertain. And God is calling his church to have faith and to depend on him so that even in the midst of uncertainty of today, we do have the certainty of who holds our lives in his hands. I'm thankful that this passage talks about um, us taking those accusations seriously, right? In verse 14, it says, "Then you must inquire, probe, and investigate it thoroughly." Right? He says, look, make sure, because this is a serious thing. Right? This is not something lighthearted that we ought to just assume to be true of all humans. But as believers, we need to be sure that we are putting God first. We need to be sure that we are loving God with all of our hearts, and that it should break our hearts. It should cause us to tremble with fear if we love anyone or anything more than we love God. Right? It's not something that we just simply allow or simply assume to be the norm, but it should cause us to really search our hearts carefully, because there's so many things that we have allowed to be idols in our lives. And God is saying, I don't want any part of that in my kingdom. We cannot have anything like that in our hearts. It's true. We do have a tendency to stray, a tendency to give our hearts to other things. And God is saying that's not permissible. It's not okay. The compromises that we make, they're not okay. And He wants to be. He must be. the first love of our hearts, so that we would love God with all of our heart, soul, mind, and strength. This passage, it makes it so clear that our minds and our hearts are so easily influenced by others. And so he says, if that happens, the whole town should be destroyed. What's he saying? He's saying the same thing about yeast. Remove it completely, because a little bit of that yeast will work its way through the entire batch. That's what it's saying, right? If troublemakers arise and begin to lead the people of the town astray, that little bit, that one troublemaker begins to lead the entire town astray, and it needs to be eradicated. It really is a word of warning to the church. Guard your heart. Guard your mind. Don't give the devil a foothold. Don't allow your mind or your heart to go astray. Focus on the Lord. Trust in Him. Depend on Him. Lean on Him. That's how we keep our path straight. Every day, every moment, we are deliberate about seeking and pursuing more of God. And so that's my encouragement to you. That's the way that I feel that God is calling on me to respond to this word, to search my heart, and really, if there are any idols, don't take it lightly. Bring it before the Lord and truly eradicate it completely. Be so deeply in love with God that nothing else would bring any kind of compromise into my life. God, help me. Help me, Lord, to love you above everything else. That's my prayer for myself this morning. It's also my prayer for you. I want to encourage you to really apply this word, meditate on it, and really ask the Lord to reveal in your heart the areas that you've compromised, so that you can really lay it down before Him and love Him above all else. Well, have a great day today. God bless you.